Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Cleaning and Cocktails. Today, as always though, I hate when somebody says today I have a special guest. I have a special guest every time I'm on the show with my people here. So you know the deal, guys. We cleaning business owners, suppliers, manufacturers, but in this case, it is a fellow cleaning business owner. But I think Kendall also has some other things that we're going to be talking about and some experiences that he would like to share. So again, I don't even need to do an introduction, man. But what I need to do is do a cheers with you. And he's got a picture of like the world behind him, guys. And there's a reason for that. I'm excited about it. I'm going to talk about it. So cheers, Kendall, to you.
Yeah.
All right, brother. So let's jump into it, man. So Kendall, I reached out to you, man. I've seen you on some stuff on LinkedIn. And I was caught by a couple things that you had posted.
Yeah.
I had never met you. Again, a lot of the people that I have on the show, Kendall, I don't get to meet. But that's the beauty of the cleaning industry, man. You could be from anywhere. We're all from the same world together. So introduce yourself, give the audience a little bit of who you are, and how you got into the cleaning industry. And we're going to talk about your journey for the rest of the show.
All right. Well, my name is Kendal St Louis, and I am from the small island of Trinidad and Tobago. Beautiful place, I would say. I would have started in the janitorial industry roughly about 13 years ago. And a lot of people ask me how and why. But really and truly, I have no idea how and why I started it. I always knew that I wanted to do business. And at a low point in my life, I registered a business. I had a business name. And to this day, I don't know how it ended up a cleaning company. It just ended up being a cleaning company. And from then to now, I've just been doing this. And it has become quite successful. I have almost a little over 200 employees in Trinidad and Tobago. We service a large number of commercial clients and residential, but primarily commercial because that's the more thriving market in our country. And for me, I love the industry. I love the competitiveness. You learn something new every day, I would say, and I try to keep abreast of all the new technology and advancements in the industry. So I attend a lot of the ISSA shows. And right now I am tackling a very large endeavor, I would say, as I'm entering the US market. So for me, it's going to be a very interesting journey.
Nice. Well,
as I embark upon
this. Guys. I just realized this. I had Lisa on for the last episode. She's from Australia. I've got Kendall on. Yeah, I've got Kendall on. He's from Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh.
So I'd like to say Cleaning and Cocktails is going global here. We've got cleaning company owners from all over the world. Dude, so kind of again, this is why I love doing what I'm doing so I'm from the US. I know the US market. I'm learning the US market. You are in a completely different market. You've got 200 employees, Trinidad and Tobago. Like, explain to the audience, like, again, some of us, I've heard of Trinidad and Tobago. I'm a big soccer fan, so I know, my family, Mexico's playing Trinidad all the time. So how big is the country as opposed to if you have 200 employees? Man, I got to believe you're a big player in Trinidad and Tobago, or is it that competitive? Is there that many?
Yeah. It's as you know, cleaning, it is very it's a low barrier of entry. It's a very small capital to enter the market. So yes, we have a lot of players in the industry, and we are in the top 5 of the top cleaning companies locally. So yeah, we are big players. The country is roughly about 1.3 million people, so it is pretty small when you compare it to the United States.
But that's the size of a metro, right? A good metro city, right? So opportunities are there, right? Okay.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, that's the dynamics of our country. There's little regulation as it relates to the cleaning industry in Trinidad. So you would get a lot of mom and pops just opening up, right? But there are prime clients that value the professionalism that certain providers can bring
Okay.
to them.
So janitorial being janitorial. Now, Kendall, when you first started, because I've got a note for myself here, right? 13 years in the business. That so when you first started, Kendall, was it
Yeah,
because you had an opportunity to start? Because I like to start to see how everybody gets in the business. Like, is it you had a friend who had an account that you could service, or were you in janitorial as a cleaning technician, and then you said, "Hey, I can do this myself," or what? How I know you said you didn't remember exactly how you started, but like I like to know that first year. The first year to me is like always the big year because it's dude, the numbers are stacked against us as far as if you make it past here.
yeah. To be honest with you, I never had it. The only cleaning experience I had would have
Hey,
been cleaning at home,
amen.
cleaning my
Same
room,
thing. Same thing.
cleaning
And
my
I wasn't good. I was
car.
not good at it.
Yeah, yeah. And what I would say is I didn't have a plan B. I used to work construction, so the mere fact that construction has its dips, so I had to make the cleaning business work. I had to make it work. So I had no plan B, and there were some very low points, some rough points, and I just kept going. Like my first actual job, I had to subcontract it to someone who was able to do the job, and I would have employed myself with that subcontractor to learn how to use the floor machines, how to do the strip steel and polish, the whole entire process, so that the intention for me, I'm a sponge. You put me anywhere, and it doesn't have to be janitorial. It could be anything. I love watching businesses operate. I love to see how things go from point A to point B. That's me. I'm a sponge. So I just basically retained everything, and then I was able to buy my own equipment, and I started practicing doing jobs on my own, and that's when I started growing from doing the jobs on my own, because removing a subcontractor would allow you to make more profits. So that's exactly how I started growing, and then I started getting contracts, and I started getting the confidence. I didn't have the confidence when I used to be going to those
Mhm.
bid walkthroughs when you go to site visits. I just used to go site visits because and I just used to feel so intimidated because I'm watching the bigger players in their uniforms, looking professional, and like in my mind, I'm having doubts, and I'm saying, what am I doing here? And you know what? I never used to bid on those contracts. Like I just used to go and observe, and then I used to think that, hey, this is too much for me.
Yeah,
I don't
but
even think I
Kendall,
can
man,
handle this.
this is man. I don't even know if I've really talked about this too much, but dude, that what you just said is like people that are listening that are just starting off. They're in their first year. They may be in their second year. They're struggling up at low down, low points up, high points. I I commend you on the subcontractor thing because that is exactly how I learned too. As I observed these other guys, because you're right, man.
Yeah,
Think about it in sales or just in business operations. If you don't show that vote of confidence, like that's just another check mark to not give you the business, right? Like if you don't sound confident, they're not going to trust that like here I'm going to give you my account in my portfolio
yeah,
because I trust that you're gonna get the job done. So that people need to know that like just because oh, I'm not a subcontractor, I don't want to be a sub. I've heard so much things bad about it, but don't just look at it from the money point, right? Like I guarantee you, because you're a spudge and you observed, you didn't look at it from just money. You looked at it from the chance to learn. Like these guys know what they're doing. I'm going to take
to
I'm going
chance
to
to learn. Yeah,
I'm going to not make
yeah,
as much profit from this account, but because I know that the return is going to be the knowledge that you gain. So that's how that dude, and that's a tactic, right? That
that's
that is a tactic that you got to be okay with. That almost it hits the ego a little bit to say, I'm working for another cleaning company, but man, I would tell you that that's got to be a big reason that you learned and know a lot that you know. So in the beginning, so you're learning the floor surfaces, you're learning the janitorial, you're getting your feet wet. If you know my story, I'm all about family. Did you have any family involved in the beginning with you, or to this day, do you have family? No family.
No, no, it was no. I have family involved now, but there weren't family involved in the beginning. It was really me
Oh,
just
now
trying
you
to
prove it. Now the
prove
family jumped
myself to the
on.
family that hey, yeah, yeah. So it was yeah, the odds were stacked against me because yeah, it was crazy. Back in the days, it was crazy.
All
So I
right.
really had
So,
to make
so Ken,
this
let's talk
business
about
work.
this. All right. So you're from Trinidad and Tobago. Had you have so when you entered the janitorial space, because I know you mentioned ISSA show and everything. Like, when during the beginning or at what point did you learn about the U.S. market and learned about how cleaning is done here? Is it do we do cleaning differently in the U.S. versus Trinidad and Tobago, or are there similarities, or what are the differences?
Yeah. Um.
Yeah, three
So
questions,
okay, you asked me a
just
couple
three
of
different
things here. Let
questions.
me
That's all.
let me go. Let me. Yeah, I didn't really know much about the USA market totally. Um. I had a mentor who was in the same business as mine. He passed away sometime last year. He was a pioneer in the industry, I would say. He used to go to the trade shows. His name is Brian Duki. And we were competitors essentially, but we met during a site visit and we communicated. And after that, we just clicked. And another low point, because there are
Hmm.
always many low points, you just have to overcome them. I had got one contract. Like I had a somewhat stable contract, but it was only for 6 months with the hope that it would be renewed for longer. And it didn't get renewed, right? And no fault of anything to do with my staff, with quality or anything. It was more
Hmm.
mm, political, I
Yeah.
would say. That's how it is. Um, and I had no more work. Like I had nothing else going on. Like that was like my first real contract. And what I did was I spoke to Brian and I told him, I said, hey, I just lost the last contract, the only contract that I had. So he was like, he told me, Kendall, why don't you come to the ISSA trade show? Come and see what our industry has to offer. I mean, if you can, he asked me if I can, and I said, well, send me the details, and
No.
he sent me the
What year was
details,
that,
and
Kendall? What year
I
did you
started
go for
looking.
the first time? 2015.
2015, and when I lost the contract, it was very close to when there was the trade show in Las Vegas. So this was
Oh
actually the
wow.
first time I was coming to the USA. So I took the last set of money that I had from the contract, and I I basically bought the ticket, booked for the hotel, everything, and I took the same flight with Brian. So we were together on the plane, and then we arrived to Miami, and from Miami we took another plane to reach Las Vegas. And what I could say is the trade show opened my mind. Like I signed up for the bidding courses to learn how to bid, the marketing courses, like, and just seeing how big the industry is at that point in time. When I came back to Trinidad, like I came back a different person. Like I was I had more confidence. Like I was calling up clients, prospects, and just selling myself, selling my services, and things just started coming my way. More and more work started coming, and I never forget that was a life changing part of my life because it happened then when I came back, and then even during COVID, like I was able to touch back to those contacts in order to get
Mm.
like hand sanitizer dispensers and hand sanitizers because I had like the flyers and the brochures from meeting these manufacturers and suppliers since 2015, and because I kept those contacts, then I was able to tap into them when I really needed them. So it was, if I could go back in time, I would have probably tried to go to the
Uh,
ISSA
Dude,
trade
so
show
Kendall, I
before
mean that's a
2015.
strong point, man. Because
Yeah.
I've if you've seen some of these episodes too, I'm a big advocate. I love the ISSA, I love the BSCI. We put on some of our own events because I feel what happens when you go to those events. it's not just like, hey, I'm going to go there and I'm going to win I'm going to win a contract, or I'm going to go there and I'm going to win business, or I'm automatically going to learn, or I mean, grow.
Learning,
No,
learn.
no, no. What you're going to do is build a network, right? You're going to build
Yeah,
opportunity. You're going to build opportunity and get to know people.
build a
And
network.
man, I'm 100% agree with you. Like the first time I went to the show, and now I bring the whole team because my goal is just see how big the industry is. That's all. We're so stuck in our bubble, right? You're in Trinidad and Tobago. You're stuck in in that territory. But if some of your team were to see how big the industry is, it's like, oh wow,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's a whole week dedicated, right? There's events dedicated just to cleaning. Dude, it's and then the tech.
And then
Yeah. So all
the
right,
technology blows your.
you know me. I like tech. I'm building tech. Kendall, what innovation or what are you using today? And then what's getting you excited for what's to come within the space?
Right. So today we started.
Hmm.
Well, we've been using the ATP tester, right? Um, and we started using the robot vacuums, right? Um, what I would say is that it wows the clients to an extent. It's very, how can I put it? It differentiates you to a point, but I think our area hasn't really
Yeah.
caught on
Yes.
to the advancements as yet. We will get there, it's just that we haven't caught on to the advancements
Yeah.
as yet. So
Agreed.
it's a work in progress. It's a
Now,
work in progress.
so you said that's
Yeah,
a good point. You say it differentiates you to a point. So, yeah. So what other,
to a point. Yeah,
because again, I'm fascinated because you're from Trinidad and Tobago. So again, and I know we're going to talk about you coming to the U.S. market too. So I know there's an endeavor there coming up soon. But so there,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
again,
yeah.
so back to that one question: is there anything different out of the U.S. that you've seen that's working for you there? That if you talk to colleagues here in the U.S., it hasn't worked here. Like, is there any things that you're working on that you could think of that stand out to you?
What what I would say, not entirely as it relates to tech, but what I would say is what I've noticed from speaking to US counterparts in the industry. It seems like because the market is so big in the US, people find a niche and they stick to that niche. In Trinidad, we offer a wide range of services because of how competitive the market is, right? So we don't just do janitorial. We actually do the supply of paper products, toilet paper, paper towels. We service feminine hygiene bins. So with the sanitary napkins, we do that. We do that as well. We do landscaping. We have robot lawn mowers, all those type of things as well. So we have to diversify our entire portfolio, as opposed to when I speak to US counterparts, they're like, "You're
You
doing all of that," but we do all of that because if we don't do that, our client can go somewhere else. We even do a bit of painting and minor construction for clients because sometimes our clients
Yep.
wants to be able to deal with one maintenance company. So we try to make it easy for them, right? And I mean, we offer a one-stop shop. So that's what differs us when I compare myself to a US company to
Yeah.
an extent, based on speaking to other counterparts who, like I said, they find a niche and they stick to that niche and that niche works for them. And I mean, that's the
Yeah.
interesting thing for
And
me for the US
that's a
market.
great point, man. Because you think about it, they're they're content or okay with just offering those services, but sometimes because it's they need to gain confidence to offer the additional. Because a lot of the companies here do think you have to be a larger size company to offer that kind of all those services. But
Like, okay,
yeah, but you don't. I
that's
would
an
argue,
interesting
yeah,
way
you
to
definitely
look at
don't
it.
have
Yeah.
to be large, right? Like we're not a large company. We offer 22 different services. To that point, though, single source solution, one stop shop. We are your solution for anything that you need within a facility, right? So I gotta believe because this is a good segue to the U.S. market. Is you do you have contacts here? Is that what some of your future endeavors is to come into the U.S. market as well for the facility maintenance side?
Yeah, that is my current endeavor. We already are registered in the USA. Presently, we are within, let's say, like next month we would officially be starting up. We actually starting with residential, and then we're going to go into the commercial aspect, right? So yeah, that is our plan. That is our intention. We've done the market research. The
Oh
market
yeah,
is
no,
larger compared to Trinidad. It it's more friendly as it relates to people want to spend their
oh yeah,
money to get their homes clean, to get their vehicles clean. Yeah, people like it's America from what I've seen. It's a very it's a somewhat of a hustle in terms of you always have stuff to do. So the busy professional needs that assistance. They need that person who they could trust in their homes, who could actually meet the quality standards that they need, and that's something that we intend to offer on a large scale. And yeah,
nice.
hope to be
So
successful in that
Kendall,
endeavor
I
as
gotta,
well.
when you're speaking like that too, I have to believe, leadership is a big part for what you're doing, right? Because one, you're talking about going into a different country, right? To offer the, me, I'm just thinking about crossing state lines to go to a new state to offer my services. You're
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ugh.
And I commend you for that because a lot of the owners that I've met in the USA,
Oh,
I've never heard them talk about
I do it
crossing the
every day.
state lines. Right? They yeah seem, seem to be
Uh,
doing pretty okay in the state that they're in. But I mean, for me, I was in the USA in
I,
13 years
uh,
ago.
I
I would be in
I
every
believe it,
state.
man. No, I believe you,
Every
man. I can
game.
see the way when you're talking, and again, I can see like the content you post on LinkedIn. It comes from a mindset, right? Like you are a leader for your company in Trinidad and
Yeah,
Tobago,
yeah,
and you have to if you're going to want to go into another market. So when you made this decision and you're doing the market research, are you bringing team members from Trinidad and Tobago, or are you looking at, I'm going to build another team here in the US? And if so, like talk to us about that, because I think that'll be helpful for people to know what it is to, like, what are the things you're thinking
yeah,
of picking up shop and going to a new market. Like that's it's a big mindset shift, right? Because it's scary. It's got to be it's scary, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it is scary because it's I'll be honest, like I did some research and the content that I do get back in terms of research, the data, sometimes I'm like overwhelmed. Sometimes I'm saying, wow, is this really going to work? And then I have to hit myself. Yeah, I have to hit myself in the head and say, listen, it's gonna work. You have to make it work, right? As it relates to bringing across, it would be based on. I think for now, if we are tackling residential, we may not need key employees from Trinidad, but from the time we go into commercial, depends on how intricate that client is. We may need some reinforcements from the Trinidad arm, and I'm looking forward to building a USA team. I'm looking forward to see. I've always heard great things about the USA employment market. So I would like to interact
Yeah.
with that market and just see their drive, see their commitment to work, and see how they function and they operate. I would love to see that. I mean, that is one of the most exciting parts for me. Like I picture in Trinidad, I have like a right person who
You're right,
the
Hammond. Yeah.
right. There's a term you call the right hand man. I'm Yeah, I'm eager to see in the USA who's going
Oh
to be the
man,
right hand man.
I would definitely tell you. I mean, I'm here to help too, man. Whatever market you're looking in, reach out to me. You don't got to tell us here, right? There's a strategic play.
Yeah,
But you let me know where you're entering,
yeah,
and I'll let you know who I know in that area, because the industry is shifting a bit now too, Kendall. So you're coming into the US market in a great time, in my opinion. Is cleaning company owners are working together more, and they're communicating, and they're collaborating, and um
right.
like people that want to grow in our industry, if we make it exciting and we make it feel good and sexy, we're going to be able to recruit talent from other industries and companies because you know, a cleaning isn't going anywhere. We're recession proof, pandemic proof. This is a very sexy industry if you want job security. But now it's
Yeah, it
just we got
is.
to make it fun, right? When I listen to you
Yeah.
talk and I see your plans to grow into here, be like, to me, that's an exciting leader to work for because you're showing right now you're taking a risk. This is not easy stuff. Like, uh, and
Yeah.
a good leader
Yeah.
is willing to take risk, man. So again, cheers, cheers to
Yeah, you
you,
take
right?
risks. You gotta take risks.
On risk taking and being a leader, my man.
Thank you. Yeah,
So, all
appreciate it. Appreciate it.
right. So you said residential. So many would say it's hard to do both. Why did you? Why are you doing both? And what gives you the confidence that you can handle both? Is there you have the right leaders in place, or like because I've
Right.
heard you shouldn't do both. In that in the U.S. that's what many people will say and put out there. But what was your approach to doing both?
Yeah. Well, I think for me, I wouldn't know until I try, right? Because it's a new market in Trinidad. The residential market is not very lucrative
Yeah.
because people are
Okay.
more cash conscious in Trinidad. Yeah, people are more cash conscious, so you more get commercial. Majority of our work is commercial. Um, but based on our research, we've realized that the residential market is very lucrative as well. I mean, I would love to go with commercial, but I think commercial takes some time. I mean, when I'm doing my thought process is when we're doing residential, it gives us a revenue stream.
Correct.
While commercial takes some time, you're gonna have to meet prospects, you're gonna have to bid, it's gonna take a while to evaluate those bids. So you're not gonna get a cleaning contract in 1 month if you have to be super lucky. So we need to have a buffer in the interim. If we have steady residential clients calling us in every week, every day to do cleaning, that's fine for us in the interim, and then we
No, I like
gradually
it.
grow
That
into
that
the commercial.
that dude, that's
And I
a great
mean,
approach, man. Think about
yeah.
it. That is the one thing. Like we don't do much residential cleaning, but we do it to get in to do carpet cleaning, window washing, tiling, grout, right? To do the special services. But that's the biggest bonus is you get
Yeah.
paid on the spot. You get paid with a credit card. You get paid like money comes in much quicker than a net 15, net 30. So
And bro, my business is purely
uh,
built on credit in terms in Trinidad, and they don't pay
so
on
actually,
time
okay.
here.
So that you know what? That's a great
They
point
don't pay
though.
on
Let's touch
time.
on that. Kendall, because yeah, here in the U.S., right, contractual agreements, commercial clients, net 15, net 30, net 60. Uh, what are you doing to set yourself up from a cash flow from banking perspective and capital? Like in Trinidad, you just is banking friendly to service companies? If does that make sense? Like or no? Or do they look at it as a risk?
I would say they look at it as a risk because of how the economy is in Trinidad. Um, in the beginning, I was very much anti-bank because the bank were not very helpful to me in the beginning. A lot of the times I had to actually make sure my staff were paid, and I had to do without until I was able to collect payments and then settle myself. So yeah, it's definitely, if the market in Trinidad was
Gotcha.
complementing for residential, I would have focused on residential, but there was not
No,
much
no.
revenue for there. So I can't knock the banking system. Since my company has gotten bigger, I've gotten a little more assistance, right? In terms of overdraft facilities, that type of thing. But in the beginning, no, I basically had to maneuver and figure
Yeah.
things out and figure things
So
out quickly.
and then think about that too, Kendall, right? You're so like yourself, myself too. When I got into the cleaning industry, I never ran a business. I did not know how to be an entrepreneur. I did not know billing, invoicing, accounting. Like, what's the one thing that sticks out to you that you were surprised that you were able to learn it, and now looking back, like are you proud of some of these moments, right? Because like for me, it was billing. I did not think I had it in me to handle invoices and stuff like that, but I just got it done. But like anything sticks out to you as far as the many hats that you wore, that you're now you look back and you're like, damn, I did that, right? Like I didn't think I was going to do it, but I did it.
I would say in terms of just making things happen, because there were many times, like staff don't even know, like some years ago when the company was growing, there were many times at the end of the month we did not have that monthly salary for our employees. And like boiling down to the last count of days, like I had to be figuring out
Oh,
how the hell am I getting this money, because yeah, for me, I don't like, I'm the type of person where I don't like, I find if you work, that's owed to you and that's fair. I don't like
yeah.
employees saying that I robbed
No.
them. I don't ever want an employee to get that impression that I robbed them, or that I have their money, and because I've seen it played out with other contractors, and
Hmm.
I don't want to be that type of person, because that's not me, right? Which is why I would have figured things out. I would do it out, ensure that the employees get their just due, and things worked out. Like for instance, we're in a better place now, so that doesn't happen anymore. But I remember those days, and I look back and I'm like, wow, imagine that used to happen. Like there were times we didn't know how we were going to
Oh,
pay our
Kendall, man.
employees,
Like
and we made it happen.
that's so like if people only knew some of those moments, like there was like to the minute at the bank, running here to get this, to get that, to get this, to submit
Yeah,
this, to clear that, and it's like, is it insufficient? Is it insufficient? Oh, we made it. We're good. We made it. Everybody got paid.
and it can be
Oh,
anxious, so
I
anxious. It leaves
I
you
went
so
from
anxious.
quitting
Sometimes.
smoking to
Like,
smoking real fast. And many of my up and downs. Me and my cousin Tony would laugh, man. We're like, Tony, man, you remember that
yeah,
time we met each other outside every hour to the hour on that Friday? And he's like, yeah, man, that was tough. That was because we were always, what if we did this? What if we talked to this person? Did you reach out to
yeah,
that person? Hey, doesn't that guy owe you money? Like just figuring it out. Because you're right. The biggest thing was we never want to be that company, man. It's the worst. It's the worst way for somebody to think of you. Like
mhm.
Kendall, oh,
It's
that
a word.
company, oh yeah, they don't pay on time. Yeah, they don't pay. They don't pay their. Oh,
Yeah, they don't pay time off. Pay you. Yeah, yeah. That's part of what I didn't want to be that person. So I mean, I would say business and life is a journey. And I mean, I think there's a saying by I think it's Walt Disney. I may be quoting it wrong, but I think it's something that was like, in life there will be many dark days, but there will be bright days, but there will be more
no,
dark days and bright days.
no,
So just prepare for it. It goes something like that. So I always try to put that in mind, that hey, you're going through a rough time now, but there's going to be a bright
yeah,
moment, and then
no,
there's going to
man,
be
I
many
agree.
rough
Like
moments right
I always
after.
tell myself, and I tell the teams too, like, dude, recognize the losses, recognize when it's a bad day, but then celebrate the wins, right? As small as it may be, because you're not going to get too many of them, as
Mm,
opposed to, like you said, the darker, not so happy days, man. We're in the business of people, right? Like every day somebody's got a problem. You're a therapist. I'm a full-time therapist nowadays, and I'm okay with it. It's like, hey, I signed up for this.
right.
Could you think of even in the past year, man? So again, so let's not worry about, or you the turmoil, the ups and downs in the beginning. You're 13 years in. This past year, let's say the start of this year, what were you excited? Obviously, I think I know what you were excited about, but like, what could you tell people that 13 years later you're still excited about growing your business? Like, what is it about this industry that excites you, that now you're going into this 13th, 14th year, and look at, you're thinking about crossing, going into another country? Like, that's got to say something about the industry that we're in, as far as the cleaning industry, right? Like what do you?
Yeah, it's a it's a lucrative industry. We would have seen that COVID would have shed a lot of light on our industry in terms of how important it is. It's an industry that's ever changing, and there's a lot of opportunities in the industry. You could be a service provider, you can be a manufacturer, you could be a distributor. There are different levels of entry for anyone who wants to enter this industry. And I mean, when you interact with a lot of the people on these trade shows, you see their commitment, you see their love, you see how engrossed they are in the company that they work for. And I mean, for me, just seeing that shows me how loved and how dedicated they are to seeing the industry win. And I mean, kudos to everybody. Kudos to the ISSA. Kudos to you. Everybody, you guys always you guys create a platform for everyone to be able to get knowledge, to get a voice. Because I mean, with you with your podcast, it gives anyone who's on your podcast a voice. With the ISSA, it gives anyone a platform to write an article. It goes. It's just ever diverse and the different bodies that all come together and align makes it possible for anyone to enter the industry and become more than they think that they can become. And I mean, that's what keeps me in this industry, and that's what keeps me going, and that's what keeps me wanting to do different things. I mean, who could say
No,
that they're from the Caribbean and they enter the US
I
market
don't
and they're
think. Yeah.
successful in the US? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's a challenge, and I want us to be having another podcast next year.
Uh,
You're going to be update.
so it's
I'm going
gonna
to be
be
updating you on how
talking to
things
Kendall out of
turned
where he's
out.
from in the U.S.,
And
not
so
Kendall from Trinidad. It's Kendall from this market now. That's what I'm talking about.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, I mean, it's a journey that I am prepared to just stay on until I'm happy. Until I'm
Yeah.
happy at where I'm at, basically. Till I'm
So,
content. Until I
so
reach
we've
to
been
that
talking
level
a
of
lot about cleaning.
contentment.
Is this something I want to start asking more and more people too, Kendall, on the show? Is all right. You're a leader. You're building the business. You're entering into this new market. You're excited. You're infatuated. But what about personal Kendall? Like, what are some personal things that people should know about Kendall so the next time they see you at an ISSA show, they should, man, hey, I remember you like to work out, or hey, I know you love basketball. What's some personal stuff that you get into? Because as much as we love business, man, we got to have a personal side to what we do. So, share some of those stories and
Yeah.
habits and hobbies.
Um, I'm a very disciplined guy. I love reading. I love working out. I used to work out like almost every morning, 4 a.m. I used to wake up and hit the gym. I have recently stopped only because I got pretty tight. And right now, I've actually taken up aerial yoga. So I'm trying to loosen up, which is why I'm engrossed in aerial yoga now. So that is something that I am pushing and I'm doing a lot more. That's I would say that's like a hobby now because it actually loosens you up. And my intention is when I get to a level of being a little more
Hold on, hold on,
flexible,
hold
I
on.
intend to
So here we
start
go.
back
See, this is
pushing the
God works
weights
in
and getting.
very mysterious ways here. Dude, I am tight, man. Like my neck, I got cramps in my neck. I work out every day, right? Like I literally have kinks.
Yeah,
So I was just gonna do stretching, and there's a place in the U.S. called the Stretch Lab. I was gonna go there, but aerial yoga is that? So does it? Because I'm stiff. I'm very stiff right now.
yeah. So right, what you should do is look at thigh massages because you can get a lot of that in the USA,
Okay.
and look at aerial yoga. Right, those two together, like you do that once a week, right? And you try to do aerial like 3 times a week, it will actually loosen you up. Aerial yoga will loosen up your quads, it will loosen up your thoracic, all those areas. Because if you exercise a lot, based on what you're saying, then you probably
Yeah.
have some of the same imbalances as me, and that's going to be thick. That's going to be your quads,
Dude, like right
right?
here.
So yeah,
That
aerial yoga.
hurts. That
I
hurts.
mean,
That hurts right there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Listen, yeah. So it's a funny thing. Like the weights are good for you,
The
but
balance.
you
You
need
need you need
that time for
like
the body.
yeah.
Yeah, the balance. So it goes, yeah, they go hand in hand, and I didn't even realize that because When you get older, that's when all those cramps that you feel, all the stiffness, it's gonna
Bro,
get worse as you get older if you don't
no,
loosen it
I'm
up.
telling you,
So you
like
gotta
it's
loosen it
the
up.
funniest thing ever.
Yeah, you gotta
Kendall,
loosen it up. Which is
I have a trainer.
yeah,
She's working me out on stretching. But if he hears this, Jeff, you remember this conversation, Jeff. But I was like,
yeah,
he's like, Rick, what do you mean? Like, describe. I'm like, Jeff, my wife says I'm the worst person to describe pain. But I'm like, I'm going to tell it to you like this. You know, when you get up out of your seat, I feel like my ass is still in the seat. Like I've gotten up, but like there's a disconnect with my torso down there. He's like, that is the absolute worst description I've ever. I'm like, I don't know what you mean by that. So
loser.
like, and then like I wake up, Kendall, and
Yeah,
my shins are hurting, right? Like my morning wake up every 5 minutes first of the day, I feel pain. I get out of it though, right? I'm up, I loosen up a little bit, I'm good. But like that's my body's telling me something. So maybe it's area yoga. Maybe I got to figure this out. 'Cause there,
yeah. You gotta stretch
yeah.
more. Basically, you gotta stretch more, and the
Hmm.
sooner you do that, rather than you get older, because when you get older, that's when it's gonna get worse. It's gonna turn into arthritis, all those things. Now, I'm not a medical doctor or anything. That's
Yeah.
the like I used to have that pain that you're mentioning. I used to feel like that. I used to feel I'm 34 and I'm
I'm
34 on
41, man. I'm getting
Friday
old,
next week,
bro. I'm getting
right?
old.
And I used to feel like I am an old man when I wake up. So I started researching Google everything, and that's when I realized what was happening to me. And brother, my everything was off, like the tight, the thoracic, the quads. So I had the physique, everything. I was like lean
You're
and
super
cut and
tight.
everything,
Yeah.
but I was just
Well,
super
think about
tight.
it. I mean, that goes to the mind too, right? Like our brain muscle. Like we can't always be on and thinking we can always be working and
Yeah,
working and working. Like we got to turn it off and relax, enjoy,
yeah.
right?
You got to turn
Enjoy, take
off.
some time
And
off
I've
and stuff.
started doing
So
it now.
we're learning, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure you're learning just like I am. I'm infatuated with business and just winning at life, man. But winning at life is also personal, right? Like you should also be worried about the brand side as well and winning in the brand side as well. So, or winning in, building a team, your
yeah.
employees, growing the atmosphere, the culture. What would as we come to an end, Kendall, like what would you what would you want to leave the audience, especially the U.S. market, bro? Like again, you're from Trinidad, right? Like what Kendall, you're coming into the US. You're learning about the US market. I hope to see you in Vegas for the ISSA show. And you know, we better be
I'm
connecting
gonna be there.
in
I'm gonna be
person.
there. Trust me.
What would you want to
Yeah.
no,
You go
well
to Chicago.
yeah,
You go to
I'm in Chicago.
Chicago's.
We'll be in the Vegas show. We have a booth at the Vegas, so I'll be at both the BSCI and
Oh,
ISSA show. But what do you want to leave the audience, our listeners, if if you see Kendall at the ISSA show, that you want them to remember it and come up to you and talk to you about.
um, if you have a dream or something that you want to do in life, just do it. Just do it. Don't have any doubts. I mean, there will be doubts, but put the doubts behind your head and just do it. Just start. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You have to remember that life is short, and if you're wondering and thinking that what your friends are going to say, what your parents are going to say, or what anybody's going to say, you have to remember it may sound bad, but people really don't care that much about what you're doing. You have to have you have to have more care about what you're doing. So, like for me, I started a YouTube channel recently as well, and I should have started this years ago, but I was so engrossed in thinking about what people would think, what people would say, and really and truly, people don't really
Yeah.
care about what you're doing as much as
So as long
you
as you're
care about.
happy,
You understand?
right? As
So
long as you're happy
yeah,
doing it.
as long as you're yeah. So just if you have a dream and a goal, just go after it, figure it out, and go after it. Do all that you need to do to make sure that it happens and becomes a reality and not just a dream. Because you don't want 10, 20 years down the road, you're wondering what if, because living with regret is one of the biggest challenges. And that's why I'm entering the USA market, because I've always wanted to. And I don't want to reach to an old age, and then I'm
Yeah.
wondering, what if I had entered?
We'll do it. So
See what's going to
again,
happen now.
kudos to you, Kendall, because if I'm doing the math right, you're 34, you started 13 years ago, you were 2021. I don't even want to tell you what I was doing at that age. But again, you took that risk. Now you are where you are,
Yeah,
and you're at this is a great point in your life. I would think you're in your 30s. You're hungry. You're growing. You're an entrepreneur. You're a builder, right? Because I think an entrepreneur may be a person that started one business or one thing, and then a builder is building things, right? You're building your path right now. So I would say you're a builder now, right? You've gone
correct.
from an
That's
entrepreneur to a
correct.
builder. You're 34. You're shit. I wish I was 34. I started in this industry at 30, 31. I'm 10 years behind. I'm 10 years behind you. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
it's as simple and easy as it sounded. I think people have to hear what you just said over and over again, because you're right. If I didn't start what this podcast 2.5 years ago, I wouldn't be where I'm at here, right? If I didn't start in the industry 10 years ago, I wouldn't be
That's
where I'm at now. And there's a shit ton of doubt, man. So 100% with what you said. It creeps up. It's part of the life, and it's never going to stop, because if you're a true builder, you're always going to be building something new. So it's you're starting things over all over again, right? You are about to start something over in the US again.
yeah, yeah.
Literally, like you're going to start it over again. So kudos to you, brother. Cheers to you. Cheers to our industry. Cheers to you coming to the US market. And what
Thank you.
as we come to an end here, guys, Kendall, I know you won't mind, but I'm going to put your contact information, company information in the profile. Um, I would definitely follow Kendall, you guys, on LinkedIn, especially because that's how we connected. I saw some of his posts. I sent him a direct message. He's got some inspiring
Yeah,
stuff, some real stuff. It's again, real is even better in my opinion. It's real words,
yeah,
authenticity. So,
yeah,
Kendall,
yeah, yeah.
I appreciate you, my man. Thank you for being on. Everybody, thank you for joining us for another Cleaning and Cocktails episode. Until next time, Kendall, I'll see you at the ISSA in Vegas, my man. Thank you.